Hello, everybody. Welcome to our community sing. We're so excited to see you. I hope that you are ready to sing with us. We have a really special piece to share with you today, and it's part of this larger program where we're exploring the medieval music of women. And as part of this particular event, we want to invite you to sing. So you need to get some music because all you're going to see is our faces. So we want you to go and get your music. So whether you are on Facebook or YouTube, you want to click the link that's in the post to go to our website and go ahead and get that link. The piece that we're going to sing today is called Stabat Juxta Christi Crucem. And this piece is from a really incredible manuscript of the early 14th century called Las Huelgas Codex. And I'd say, Kristen and Crossley, this is one of our highlights, I think, of some of our programs, especially our pilgrimage program, where we explore music along the Camino de Santiago. So I wanted to say a few things about this manuscript, but I also wanted to ask Kristen and Crossley about one of their favorite things about this piece or a memory that you have of this piece and why it's meaningful to you.
I'll jump in. I actually have two. One is Aya related and one is not. So the very first time we sang Pilgrimage, I remember the piece before this piece on the program must not include me because at the beginning of this piece, I just stand up from where I am and I just start singing. And I remember, I have goosebumps right now thinking about that moment. The very first time we sang it and the very first time I did that, it was so overwhelmingly powerful and beautiful. And I saw the audience, their heads were down. They might've been reading their program. And then everybody looks up because there's something new happening and there's a new voice and there's a new piece and there's new text. And it was just a very, very special moment. The next piece of that is Allison and I performed this at the National Cathedral, 5, 6, 7, 8, a while back for Good Friday. And the text and the message in the piece in that space during that service, people still talk about that service, that specific service to that day. It's just such a powerful piece of music.
Well, yeah, it's hard to follow that, but I think my favorite part of this piece and doing the program that this piece is on is that we get to sing our title, our name, on this like gorgeous melody. Hey, I started way too low, but but yeah, we get to sing Aya with this big exclamation, and I always just like that's like a little like this moment to me. In every concert we do this. Yeah.
I love that moment too. And this piece was first introduced to me when I first started studying medieval music about 20 years ago, and I entered graduate school, and my very first class was on the music of this particular codex. And I remember I heard one of the women in my class sing it. I thought I died and went to heaven. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever heard. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the piece and then jump into our singing. So this piece is what is considered monophonic. It only has one voice. And it's written in a style that is very specifically connected with early polyphony, which really sort of met its peak, its apex in the 13th century. We call it the Ars Antiqua style. And it was a style that was really pretty revolutionary at the time. But this was really a new style of polyphony and just sort of musical language. As I mentioned, this is a monophonic piece. The way composers were conceiving of music during this period in the 13th century was that it took on some rhythmic qualities. And composers were beginning to notate music according to what was called a rhythmic mode, which meant that when you looked at the manuscript, you could see, this is no longer in a free chant style, it's rhythmicized. And this piece happens to be rhythmicized as well. And you'll hear that and you'll get to experience that too. So that's one of the things that you're going to hear, and that's sort of interesting. But what's really interesting to me about this is that it's related specifically to Las Huelgas. So Las Huelgas is a convent that's located in Burgos, Spain, and it's along the Camino de Santiago. It's right about the centermost point, north-central Spain. And it's a pretty important place because it meant that travelers from all across Europe were coming through this town. So what does that mean? It means that music had a transmission route, specifically, and in this case, from Paris, where all of that new notation and all the new musical styles were being built and explored. So what in the world is happening with this codex? This music, we know, and this is why it's significant, we know that this music was intended for the women that were living at the convent. And that's a pretty big deal because during the Middle Ages, there is very, very, very little evidence of music that was specifically including women's voices. So that is a really important point along the historical timeline of Western music when we look at that through the lens of women and women's voices. So that said, the text of this piece, as Kristen was talking about this piece, we performed this on Good Friday. This is a Good Friday text. If you're familiar with the Stabat Mater, it is very much a gloss on the Stabat Mater text, and that is specifically, it's looking at almost like a tableau of Mary at the foot of the cross on Good Friday as Jesus hangs on the cross. This is a very old text. It is something that is very unique to this, the music is unique to this manuscript. The text is not entirely unique to this manuscript. It shows up in a few other places. But here we have this exquisitely set, in my opinion, very personal setting of this Stabat Mater text. Stabat Juxta. So everybody, do you have your music? Because we're going to get started. And the way we're going to teach this to you is line by line, phrase by phrase. So here's what you see. This form of music, it's called a prosa, and you'll see it has a very repetitive structure. It has 7 verses with an A line and a B line. So Kristen is going to get us started. And as she's singing, I invite you to listen. And she's going to sing or demonstrate each section for you. So she's going to sing the first 4 words for you, and then you'll repeat. And then she'll do the next little mini phrase, and then you repeat, and finally the last phrase. And there are 3 phrases per line, okay? And then when we get to the second line of the verse, that's, for example, 1B, we're going to sing it all the way through. So each A line will be in 3 sections, and then the B line will be all the way through. And then when we get to the end, we'll do it all the way through. Now, a very important note, something that I want to give you a little lesson in medieval music beyond just this particular song, is the key or the mode. Now you'll see here on the page, it's set with G as the tonic or the final. We don't sing this in G. And in fact, something I really want you to take away is that pitch is in no way absolute when it comes to medieval music and medieval sources. So it may have been written in G, but we're not going to do it in G. We're going to do it in D, which means that it will be a 4th lower, which means that I'm going to invite you and entice you not to worry about the notes, but to use your ear and your breath to lead you through. So I'm going to invite us all to just sing this pitch. Good. We're going to hear Kristen start to sing the first line. Take it away, Kristen.
So here's the first little phraselet. Stabat juxta Christi crucem. Now sing it with me. Stabat juxta Christi crucem. Stabat videns vitae docem. With me. Stabat videns vitae docem. And the last phraselet. Vitae vale facere. Vitae vale facere. And now 1A in its entirety. Stabat juxta Christi crucem. Stabat videns vitae docem. Vitae vale facere. And 1B is just like 1A, except there's different words. With me. Stabat mater necia mater, et quid sit eventus ater, novum novit funere. Good.
Okay, and I'm going to take over with the next line. So we're looking at 2A, and we'll go through the first little tick there. Stabat Virgo spectans crucem. Together. Stabat Virgo spectans crucem. Lovely, I assume. Okay, next line. Et utramque patilusem. Together. Et utramque patilusem. Last line. Sed plus suam doluit. Sed plus suam doluit. Okay, now we're going to do 2B all together. Illa stabat hic pendebat, etque foris hic ferebat, ecintus sustinuit. Thanks. I skipped all together of 2A because I'm just keeping an eye on time for us.
And now 3A and 3B. So same formula. Intus cruci conclavatur. Together. Intus cruci conclavatur. Second phrase. Intus sui orgulatur. Together. Intus sui orgulatur. Last phrase. Mater Anni gladio. Together. Mater Anni gladio. And now 3B all together. Intus mater consecratur, intus tuta concrematur, amoris incendio. Great. That's a great line for altos.
I love that line. And now this is the best line for sopranos. But listen, we're not singing high G's. But have a listen, everyone. This is line 4A, and I'll start with the first piece. Here we go. Ready? Here we go. And last. Together. Good. I'm going to add a little bit of symphonia for 1B. Here we go. 4B, excuse me. Here we go. Ready? Beautiful. Now have a listen to this. Now this phrase is slightly irregular. It's a very strange, interesting thing in the manuscript. But has a little extra beat added in. So have a listen one more time and then we'll repeat that. Let's try that, everybody. Awesome. Have a listen to the rest. Interesting. All together? Here we go. Beautiful. Here's the rest. Et tuterivis sanguinis. Together. Ready? Et tuterivis sanguinis. Beautiful. Here's line 5B all together.
And now 6A and 6B. Nunc, nunc parit, nunc scit vere. Together. Nunc, nunc parit, nunc scit vere. Second phrase. Quam maternum sit dolere. Together. Quam maternum sit dolere. And like Ali said, here's another irregular phrase, so just listen to me. Quam mamma parere. Quam mammarum parere. And now 6B all together. Nunc sed olor orbitati, dilados in bartundati, presenta in fundere. Great.
Lovely. And we have arrived to the favorite line. So here it comes. All together. And then it's Ea mate leta. Together. Ea mate leta. Next. Fletus tui nos expleta. Together. Fletus tui nox expleta. Lovely last line. Luces scit in gaudium. Luces scit in gaudium. Lovely. I realized that I dotted some rhythms that I've done dotted before that are straight in this score. So we'll keep them straight in 7B. So sorry. Okay. So here we are with Nostre. Nostre, quoque letum mane, nocti plus quam triduane, tum rede filium. Lovely.
Thanks, Cross. And then we have at the very end of the prosa, the Amen. This is actually out of time. This is a free rhythm, freely unrhythmicized Amen. Have a listen. I'm going to sing the whole thing. No, I'm going to sing it in two. I'm going to sing up to the breath and then I'll sing the second half. Ready? Here's the first half. Ready? And here's the second half. Amen. So here's that second half again. Amen. Good. Here's the whole thing. Whole Amen. Ready? Amen. Great. Great. Shall we sing it all the way through? Do we have time? Or shall we stop there? What do you
I
think,
think we
Chris?
could let's do
Sing
the
it
whole
through?
thing.
Great.
Yeah. Are we
Right,
going
good.
to mute? Like how are we doing this? Are we muting or?
Let's do it the same way we just did.
Okay.
Yeah. And we'll, yeah.
Stabat juxta Christi crucem, stabat videns vitae dulcem, vitae valle facere. Stabat mater necia mater, et quid sit eventus ater, nova novit funere. Stabat Virgo spectans crucem, et utramque pati lucem, sed plus suam doluit. Illa stabat hic pendebat, et qui foris hic ferebat, equintus sustinuit. Intus cruci conclavatur, intus sui ogulatur, mater Anni gladio. Intus marter consecratur, intus tuta concrematur, amoris incendio. Nunc, nunc parit, nunc scit vere, quam modernum sit dolere, quam amarum parere. Nunc sed olor vitati, dilados in partundati, praesentat in fundere.
Ea matelita, fletus tui nox expleta, luce sit in gaudium. Nostre, quoque letum mane, nocti plusquam triduane, tum rede filium.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks so much. We're so glad that you joined us today. And we have all come to, grow accustomed to working virtually this year. And I think it's really important that we keep doing these things. And I think it's really so delightful for us to gather and to use our voices together. I wanted to just say, if you are interested in joining us for more, you are invited to join your voice with us with our performance on April 16th for our culminating performance of the season called The Unicorn. Just go to our website to learn more, A Ensemble, where you can become either a singer or a reader in our performance. You just need to sign up with your email address. And I wanted to invite you to our next event next week. We have one of the foremost scholars of medieval music joining us, Dr. Margo Fassler. I'll be giving an interview and we'll be discussing women in medieval music and especially Hildegard of Bingen. This is thrilling. I'm so excited. That is a ticketed event, but it is not to be missed if this is something that you're interested in. And it's also an opportunity for you to ask your questions. And then following that in 2 weeks, our event is a webinar on the medieval music of women. If you're interested in this, come and participate. There will be so much information, and I cannot wait to share this with you. And I know Kristen and Crossley and I are so excited to welcome you to our community. So go to our website, like us here on Facebook, or subscribe on YouTube, and keep in touch.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.